Hey everyone, we just had a massive new console mod drop in Baldur's Gate 3's mod manager, and I'm really excited because PlayStation 5 and Xbox players can now use my Infinite Combat Create Your Own Encounters mod, which lets you create combat encounters your own way by summoning in enemies and able to create your own stories with it. We also got the Spellfire Sorcery subclass mod, the Pact of the Heart for Warlock fans, as well as a new hug here for Astarion fans. And we also have things like the camp activities making things a little bit more lively, Maid outfits, a bunch of elemental clothing, and much more. Huge shout out to Larian for approving my Infinite Combat mod though. I'm so excited about this because with this you can summon in new groups of enemies in different locations anywhere in the game. On top of that, you can also sprinkle in extra enemies into combat encounters already that are in the game, and this comes with like the Flute of Infinite Combat or the Ring of Infinite Combat here, so you got full control over that. Now this mod is actually very simple. You summon in your tutorial chest, and in it it'll have the Ring and the Flute of Infinite Combat. This has 8 different spells that are associated to it, so you can then go ahead and summon in things like weak skeletons, for example. So you pop these in wherever you want. This will also work with any other difficulty mods you may have installed, like Tactician Enhanced, or the new Dynamic Extra Encounters mod that got added to console the other day as well, so that you can have fully randomized additions on top of what's already present in this mod. So for example, we just summoned in 5 skeletons. This is like a lower level encounter. Most of them are like meant for like later on in the game, so they do have a bit more challenge to them, with these weak skeletons being more so for like early game if you just want to add some things to extra fights early on in the game. So currently there are weak skeletons, blood skeletons, which are a little bit higher in level, zombies, so you can actually have a full-on zombies mode in this game, ogres, mephits, cambions, the mind flayers, and the mini boss of this, the Death Knight. Now you only summon in one of them because they're a actual challenge, and you can also summon in extra skeletons and he buffs the skeletons up. Now they will get different health values depending on what difficulty level you're playing on. He has things like Rapace, the extra attacks here, dark vision, magic resistance, so he has a true mini boss fight. You can throw him into any other encounters that you want to add a bit more of a challenge to. And I'll show you guys, he really does mean business. Now, if there's any other enemies or any other allies in the area, they will actually join in on your fights as well. So you can see here like this, this knight is helping in. He's got Hellfire Orb. This has a 20d6 of fire damage. So yeah, he can absolutely nuke your playthroughs, and he drops Hellfire on the ground. This is meant to be a mini boss like encounter to truly test your endgame builds. Now he just comes with very basic loot like the sword and shield that he had equipped. Same things with the skeletons, they'll just come with like a basic longsword and bow. I didn't want to like mess with like loot too much to add like a lot of stuff into this game. But yeah, things can get real wild summoning in like mind flayers, the cambions, ogres, and more. So this is meant to, again, test your builds or just add a little bit more to the game, or if there's locations that you just want to have a combat encounter in, you can spawn them in there. Now I already have about 30 other enemies planned for this as I continue to work on this mod, so there will be updates. And I don't think this will take Larian too long to approve updates, as it's just enemies that are like in the base game with some modified health and attack values. But what I am looking for is any feedback on their overall levels, their health, everything related to like the combat side of things, because I've been testing this for like tens of hours and there's a lot that I can miss. So if you have any ideas regarding that, I do have other mini bosses planned, but that's something a little bit more difficult, like adding in like a Ketheric Thorm or the Mercule fight into this mod. But since those are very heavy story related things, I don't want to mess anything up, so that does require a lot more testing on my end, but it is something I'm working on when I have free time. Now this mod I have gotten a lot of demands over, so please keep the feedback nice and possible. And if you're wondering, this is Fane from a Divinity Original Sin 2, another game by Larian, so go play that, it's incredible. Now next up, I'm really excited. The Spellfire Sorcery Sorcerer subclass mod here by Adarugo is now available. So this is cool because it comes from the Heroes of Faerun, which is based on, you know, Baldur's Gate. It's really cool. So with the Spellfire Sorcerer, it has some of the 2024 updates. So you have the innate sorcery. Think of this like your magical rage. Basically for 10 turns, it's going to increase your spell save DC by 1 and give you advantage on attack rolls of spells that you cast. And what's great about this class is it's like fire, radiant, and healing focus. It kind of fills a few different niches here. So you get Spellfire Burst. Once per turn, you can spend at least, when you spend at least 1 sorcery point, you can unleash the following effects of your choice. It doesn't have these listed, but it's either giving a temporary hit points to someone that you can see, 1d6 plus charisma modifier, or dealing damage to someone within 9 meters of you, dealing 1d6 of radiant or fire damage. In the original, it is 1d4, but that just makes more sense. In a video game, there's some adaptations to this. In addition, you also get Cure Wounds, Lesser Restoration, Guiding Bolt, and Scorching Ray spells, which solves one of the sorcerer's downsides, not being able to select a lot of spells. And another option, or another thing you get at level 5 here, is Counterspell. Amazing stuff. And you also get Fireball and the Warden of Vitality. The level 6 subclass feature, though, is my favorite because whenever you use your Counterspell, you regain 1d4 sorcery points. So this allows you to feel your spells by absorbing others' magic. I love this subclass. It is a really fun one, and yeah, this is where it comes alive. Level 7 also gives you things like Wall of Fire and Fire Shield. Once you get to level 9, you get Greater Restoration and Flame Strike. Level 14 gives you the Honed Spellfire, which increases that or the temporary health that you give to additionally add in your sorcerer level. And the Radiant Fire gives an additional, instead of 1d6, it's a 1d10 of radiant or fire damage of your choice. And then level 18 gives you the Crown of Spellfire. Whenever you get some pretty powerful abilities. You get the Burning Life Force. Once per turn, when you're hit by an attack roll, reduce the damage by a 1d6 by says times, but add your charisma modifier. You get Fly, awesome. Spell Avoidance. So whenever you make a saving throw, if you succeed, you gain immunity to all elemental damage types for 1 turn. On a failed save, you get resistance and advantage on Dex, Intelligence, Wisdom, and Charisma saving throws for a turn. Pretty crazy. Spell Avoidance, Resistance. You gain resistance to all those abilities there. You can also use 5 sorcery points to use this, or you can get it free for once per long rest. Yeah, this is an incredible mod. Next up, we have the Pact of the Heart. This mod is made by the Wailing Bard. This adds in a new pact to the game. In addition, it also adds in 5 new Eldritch Invocations. Things like the Eldritch Fist. When you cast a Warlock cantrip that would use a ranged spell attack, you can instead cast it as melee range using a melee spell attack. And the thing you're here for is the Pact Boon. This is the Pact of the Heart. So when you cast a leveled spell, you can sacrifice your life force to directly channel your patron's power, sacrificing hit points equal to your charisma modifier plus the spell's level, and then you gain twice as many temporary hit points. If targeting enemies, you can take force damage equal to your proficiency bonus. This will bypass any resistances or immunities one target of your choice, then you can take twice as much force damage. And this is set to ask before it'll do that as well. In addition, you also get some more Eldritch Invocations like Armor of Pain. When you're not wearing armor, your armor class equals 10 plus Dexterity modifier plus Charisma modifier. And when you have temporary hit points from your Pact, all attacks against you are made with disadvantage from Warlock's level 5 and onwards. Resilient Heart, you add half your Warlock level to every temporary hit points you gain from your Pact of the Heart feature. Vengeful Soul, whenever a creature damages you while you have those temporary hit points, you gain advantage on your next attack roll against them. And Power Through Pain, once per long rest, as a bonus action, you can lose half your current hit points to recover 1 Warlock spell slot. Really cool stuff. This is an adaptation of a homebrew by So Many Robots. The Wailing Bard crushed it with this mod. Next up, we got a nice, simple longer hug for Astarion. It's a nice, simple hug. I was gonna go show that, but here's a video by Hyperspace Towel that showcases the difference between vanilla on the left and the modded version on the right. So it makes the hug a lot less awkward, and Astarion needs it. So instead of just giving away from the hug after like a literal second, you hold on to it like a natural hug should be. So yeah. This is much better. Hyperspace Towel makes some incredible mods, and if you're a fan of Astarion, this is a must download. Next up, we got Camp Activities, which is what you saw my character grooving out to by Gabe Kamameskro. So this is a simple lightweight mod that makes your camp a little bit more active. Now, to activate this on console, you have to go into your spell list here, go into your common ones. You're going to see 2 new passives. Music Critic, which makes it stop, and the Wallflower, which makes it happen. So it actually will sometimes happen when you just have this. If you click this and then don't click the other one, it'll actually make your own character wander around sometimes. Just be mindful of that. So you'll start to see campers move around. Oh, Shadowheart turned to the side. So yeah, sometimes you're going to see your campers move around and be a little bit more lively. Oh, Cat Maid Gale just turned around. And Gale has the having fun there condition. So yeah, it will bounce around. It is random. I've been waiting for about 5 minutes to try and get something to happen, but just the way RNG works. And speaking of the Maid outfit, this is the Ordinary Maid dress here by Chunyu. So this actually just came out on PC June 27th, so very recently. This is only for body types too, so just a heads up on that. And yeah, it's pretty funny. This is a trend. So yeah, you give yourself this outfit much like Gambit, Deadpool, Jeff the Landshark. I think it's pretty funny, so yeah. Next up though, we got the Wrongway Elemental Clothes here by Wrongway Fell Down. So this adds in a ton of new pieces of gear, 60 to be exact, 12 head pieces and then 6 for every other piece of clothing and then 12 camp clothing. So things like this will add a 1d4 bonus to attack rolls, ability checks, reduce the number needed to hit a critical hit by 4, which is like a 20% boost. This effect can stack. When you roll 2 or less on damage die, you use your highest result, and advantage on intelligence checks. +2 to spell save DC and spell attack rolls, advantage on charisma checks. There's a lot of different benefits to these. I'm not going to go over every single one of them, but I will mouse over a few different ones here. You can pause it if you want to read in more detail. There's things that can give you additional weapon proficiencies. If you want to play as like a spellcaster Gish kind of hybrid, you can go ahead and do things like that. There's also clothing, the Wear of Shar, which gives you proficiency in Constitution and Wisdom saving throws for armor class. So the clothing actually is very low armor class. But if it's a clothing, like a camp clothing version, it'll actually just boost up your character so you can have some extra benefits without having to change up your character. You can get bonuses to your stats and other things here with all these. So yeah, pretty cool mod here by Wrongway Fell Down. Next up, we got Wyll's Devil bonuses here by Max Strength Wizard. Love this mod. It is really cool and lore appropriate. After Wyll's transformation, he will gain basic dark vision, not Devil's Sight, which lets him see in magical darkness. It's a good change. The Fiendish Blessing gives a bonus +2 to armor class, and Hellish Resistance, which is the same thing as the Tiefling's racial bonus, giving resistance to fire damage. I like this mod because Wyll in his Devil form should be a little bit more powerful, so this will now change it to give him the benefits that like a Fiend or Cambion would have. Next up, we got the Remove Broken Object spell mod here by TLG53787. What this mod does is you get a spell, so anytime there's broken stuff around, you cast a spell, and in an 18-meter range, it'll make it all disappear, cleaning it up, and will likely boost your performance a tiny little bit on console if you end up breaking a bunch of things down. Next up, we got the Wet Sleet Storm here by Zarara. What this does is Sleet Storm will now apply 1 turn of wet whenever you use it, and on subsequent turns for those that are stuck inside the spell, which makes sense because if you got stuck in a Sleet Storm, you'll know it's wet. So this actually makes Sleet Storm much more viable. A lot of people just opt for using Ice Storm, and I understand why. Getting damage is nice, but having a spell that can set up your other casters while also applying a great debuff, this is an awesome mod. Also, we got the Mary's Simone head here by Mary Vale. This is a new head that is for body type 1 elves, tieflings, and humans. So yeah, you got a lot more customization with a mod like this. And I think that their mod image does a better job of selling it there. So that is what it ends up looking like. Next, we got Poesylibre's Whimsical Hair Colors here by Poesilibre. Now, a lot of the times in my console mod videos, I use Poesylibre's Fantastical Hairstyles mod. This adds in a lot of color options, and they're all very natural looking. The best part about it is you have multiple versions. So like if you want to have like black eyeliner, or if you want to have the color that will match your eyes, or if you want to change the eyebrow color as well, there's full customization here. So you can really fine tune your character of your dreams. So yeah, there's a lot of hair colors here. I'll go through their images, and they are using their Fantastical Hairstyles mod for this, so I'll just quickly go through the different options here because this just does a good job of showcasing them all without wasting your guys' time. Lots of great stuff here, definitely worth it if you're looking for some new customization options for your character. I typically use the Crazy Color Pack by Akelka, but this one is great. Much more natural. And next we got the Female Planar Ally by Wlasiuk. So this will make it so that the planar allies are swapped in gender. This is just a nice simple mod. It'll also work on if you have like the Wild Magic Sorcerer and their cameo that they summon in as well. So for example, the genie here is now a person and not like a wind elemental. So much different, and I think it's really cool. So yeah, they float around like a genie would as well. So that's pretty cool too. The Female Planar Ally. Such a distinguished gentleman here by Echo 20. This is a photo mode mod. This adds in 16 new poses into photo mode. Let's go quickly through these shots here to give you an idea of what they all look like. So yeah, very distinguished. Yeah, this is a new post pack. I think it's awesome. I'm all for new types of photo mode mods, and there's some incredible shots here to show what is possible with a mod like this. Little heads up, unfortunately for console players, since you can't get the universal pose patch, you can't use this alongside the Faerun Fashionistas Mega Pose Pack, which also has some other poses by Echo here. So just a heads up on that. It's one or the other. And the final mod that we got this week is the Endgame Lae'zel has the Githyanki egg. So this is by Kobold Juno, and this will make it if you held on to the Githyanki egg and didn't give it to Esther acts ago, it'll auto send it to Lae'zel once you reach the Morphic Pool level. I love roleplay friendly mods like this, so yeah, it is cool. Now that was a pretty solid week for mod drops. We had 2 mod drops, one with 10, now one with 15, and my Infinite Combat mod. So again, I'm looking for any type of feedback on the overall health of the enemies, the different attacks they have, anything you want to tell me about that mod. So feel free to leave those in the comments or comment on the mod page themselves. Subscribe if this video is useful, and I hope you guys all have an incredible day.